Welcome back to the One Another podcast. My name is Josh Squires. I'm your host, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Josh Fleming. Josh, thanks for being with me again.
Absolutely. It is always a pleasure to be with you, Josh.
And
for today.
Our new special guest.
That's right.
Bruce Stallings. Bruce.
It's a joy to join in with the Joshes.
Hey, that's kind of a tongue twister.
The alliteration there.
Yeah,
I love it.
like
I love it.
Yeah,
Bruce, you're going to fit in really well right here. This is going to be a good
This is going to be a good
spot.
one. If you happen to miss our intro episode, we talked more in depth about what it is that we're doing this season, but we also got a chance to hear from Bruce and get kind of your background.
Yeah.
So if anyone missed that, I would really strongly encourage them to go back and listen.
Yeah, give that a listen. It's a good
to that particular episode. Also, you would find out that we're doing giveaways this season. I know. Shocking. And so you certainly won't want to miss an episode or a post on Instagram to find out what it is that we're giving away and your chance to win it.
I'm going to be tuning in to find out about these giveaways.
I know.
Come on.
I know. I'm sorry. In the fine print, it's no one who's related to us or a member of the cast.
Well, that's our whole listening base.
I know. That's why.
So my mom's out.
Yeah, that's going to rule out a lot of people,
chiming
Josh.
in.
Are we going to be able to give anything away is the question now.
No, that's why we're doing it, and that's why the rules. You see the budget
That
here.
fine print, yeah.
Yeah.
Always get you.
Yeah. Okay, Fleming, tell us what we're talking about. Give us maybe high level
absolutely.
for people who are just joining in this episode, and then give us specifically what we're talking about
Sure
this
thing.
episode.
So, going back even to last season, we looked at 10 sins that we see men and women struggling with in various contexts, parts of their lives, and we tried to help them see sort of gospel help for those particular sins.
Yeah.
Well, we're picking up from that this season, and we're taking a book that's really all about that.
Yeah.
This is Thomas Brooks' Precious Remedies Against Satan's Devices. Now, that's a long title to say, helping you fight sin.
Yeah.
Helping you fight the sin, the temptation that is being thrown at you from the devil and his minions. And so this book is really sort of or this series is a follow-up from what we've done before. We talked about the sins we see people struggling with. Now we're giving them, from here, precious remedies, helps along the way to help them in their battle with sin and their growth in love for the Lord, sanctification, Christ-likeness, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's a great tool. You can pick these up if you would like to get a copy of this book. I mean, you can obviously order them online, but we have some here at the church, in the coffee shop. If you like to follow along, grab one of these. A very, very helpful book.
Yeah.
And so today we're jumping in, and we're looking at the first device that Brooks gives us here of Satan's, what he uses to tempt people into sin, to lure them into those things that would bring them away from God.
Yeah.
And he's going to give us 4 remedies for that. But first, can I just introduce us to today's device?
Yes, that'd be great.
This is device number 1, and I'm going to just read it as he's got it written.
Yeah,
So
that's great.
The English may be a little antiquated here, but we'll get through it. Device 1, he says, is to present the bait and hide the hook. To present the golden cup and hide the poison. To present the sweet, the pleasure, the profit that may flow in upon the soul by yielding to sin. So in other words, what good can I get out of this? But by hiding from the soul the wrath, the misery that will certainly follow by the committing of that sin. So device number 1, presenting the bait, making it look great, making it look like something you've got to have, but hiding the hook. So that's our first device, the one we're going to be discussing today.
Great.
Why don't we jump in and talk about these precious remedies, or unless anybody has some comments on just that device in general.
Well, the first thing that came to my mind when you read that, are either one of y'all fishermen, or even more specifically, fly fishermen?
Am not.
I have fished before. I wouldn't necessarily consider myself a fisherman.
There you go.
But
You've met a fly fisherman,
Yes.
before. So
We have one on staff, one of our pastors.
okay, there you go. So all you have to do is to go and to look at the lures that they create,
right.
which will look all the same to you.
Yeah.
Okay, there is very, very little to me looking at them, but there's hundreds, if not thousands. Now, to be a really, really, really committed fly fisherman, you create your own lures.
Yeah,
Make your own lures.
make them
That's
by
right.
hand,
This is a big deal. They spend a lot more time doing that than they do actually fishing.
Yeah.
And then you get in a conversation with one of them and ask the simplest of questions, and you get like a 2-hour, explanation
It's a
of fly
lecture
fishing.
and-
That's right, which is fascinating to
You learn
Some
more
people.
than you ever hoped to know.
Yeah, not me, but numerous people.
Yeah.
But what you find out, they've created all these lures to mimic the evolution of bugs, how they go from the smallest and grow up to the biggest bug. And they're trying to figure out on whatever river they're on at whatever time of year it is, what would the other bugs that are floating around on the water, et cetera, look like that the trout are going to pop up and catch.
Yeah.
They're trying to emulate that to put the best thing in and to hide that hook in there. So my first thought looking at this thing was, this is just like the fly fishermen, and the degree to which they go to develop all of these different lures. How many lures has Satan created for us? He's not omniscient. He doesn't know all things,
Right.
but he's been around a while.
He's got some data.
Yeah,
he's
he
got a lot
watched
out there.
man, so he's figured this thing out. He's been in every river in the world to fish.
He's done a lot of fishing. Yeah.
And so he's created some very specific lures, and especially specific lures for our specific situations. You know, you can watch that fly fisherman. He's just going to set aside 3 boxes of lures because it's not that time of year.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not that right thing, whether it be failure or success or whatever it may be, insecurity. And he's going to put these lures in the water. So this is a very insightful thing that Brooks points out that Satan does as a device.
Right. Yeah.
Trying to make it look like, what does success look like for you that you would think would be enough to get you to bite, or value or joy. It's not really. I mean, it's really going to hurt you, as we'll see in the Remedies, but it looks enough like it. It has the shape. It has the promise that it gets you to actually act. One of the things that I love that you actually read was that when he's presenting, or when he talks about the prophet, and I'm going to get back to that in a second, but the prophet of the sin placed before, he uses a tentative verb, the prophet that may flow.
Right.
But then when he talks about the wrath and the misery that will certainly follow.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's just, it's a masterful way to say, look, Satan loves, he's only going to give you as little bit as it takes. Right? I don't know as much about fly fishing, but I did grow up, family in Oklahoma, we would go catfish fishing, right? And you would have all kinds of bait, stink bait and crickets and crawdads and whatever. But you wanted to use as little bait as possible to actually get a bite, right? And so you may get a profit. It may just be the appearance of profit, but what you will certainly get is the shame and the guilt and the sorrow of actually committing that sin. The second thing that I really love about the way he presents it is that he actually says, sweet pleasure profit of sin. Sometimes Christians don't want to look at the fact that sin has an immediate profit. There's something immediate that it does to us that we say, yeah, that reward, I like it. We're so afraid of sin. We're afraid to call sin sin. We're afraid of enabling someone else to sin that we don't want to say, hey, if you do this thing, it might feel good for the moment. And he is like a really good doctor and physician, able to say, yeah, that feels good on the way in, but what it does for you and for your body, and ultimately, again, here, as we talk about in a soulish form, what it does for your soul is terrible for you. From a counseling perspective, when we think about change and getting people to think through change, one of the number one mistakes people make is that they discount what the positives are of whatever negative behavior someone's doing. Okay, so let's take this, for example, to the alcoholic, right? And you're trying to get someone to stop consuming alcohol. And what people do is they tell you all the reasons why you should stop. You're going to lose your job. You're going to lose your family. It's keeping you from functioning in your life. Your health is poor. Your finances are poor. All of that is true. But they never say, hey, you know what it does do, though? It alleviates some of the pain you have from something that's going on somewhere. All the shame that you've built up over years, it actually masks that and allows you to move forward. I'm going to see that, and I'm going to tell you, you can actually, instead of just masking it, you can do something that remedies it. But it's going to be hard. that profit, that momentary profit, you've got to be willing to walk away from and take off the board. And so this is somebody who's really good, obviously has ministered to people who he's had to coach through walking away from some sort of sin, and doesn't make some of those naive mistakes that Christians often make when talking about sin. So I thought this was actually really, really helpful.
Yeah, just even recognizing that there may be a real reason you're going to that device or that sin. That can be helpful, just to know, hey, I am trying to meet some sort of need. I am meeting it with an inadequate, answer.
Yeah.
I love Brooks. He gives us here even on that same page, an illustration of how Satan does this, and he talks about really even the first sin recorded for us in the scriptures of Adam and Eve, and he says, hey, look, he presented them this great thing. Hey, look, you'll be like God. You'll have this, but he hides the hook. Yeah. And we all, in a sense, we mimic our first parents, and we fall into that same prey. Every time we go into sin, we're believing for a moment the lie he presents, and not recognizing the truth that's behind it is that actually this is going to lead us to our ruin. Yeah,
actually, I like the way he puts this. He says, basically, he promised them the former, which was that they would become like God, gives them the latter, which is shame and confusion, giving them an apple in exchange for paradise. Imagine that as a sell.
Yeah.
You're going to go to someone's house and you're going to say, excuse me, sir, what you have is absolute paradise. Look around you. Everything is perfect, and you are ruler over all of it. How would you like this apple? In exchange for all of that.
That's right.
That's how masterful a salesman and a deceiver Satan is, and the sin that flows from him.
Yeah, and you see there on display the foolishness, the folly of sin.
Yeah.
And yet we all fall prey to it.
Now, there's a point. So if you took, like I've taken my kids in fishing, and if you can go to a brim pond that, let's say a brim farm, okay, there's so many brim in there you can't see straight, okay? You don't need any bait. I mean, you literally, once you get to a point, you've used your bait to get them there. Once you get to a point, you just take a hook and put it in the water, they'll bite it.
Wow.
Because there's too many of them.
Yeah.
And so they'll eat anything.
Wow.
And so you see in your counseling these people that bait got them into it, but now
it's just the hook.
It's just the hook.
Yeah.
The hook can just be the hook now, because now they'll bite anything.
Yeah.
They'll grab hold of anything to get whatever immediate pleasure that they could stand.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
The last piece of his description before we get to the remedy, I thought was incredible. He talks about profit and pleasure being the two things that sin often places before us in order to induce us to sin. And then his last line is this, riffing on the song from when David killed Goliath and then the Israelites rose up and beat the Philistines. There was this song that was the most popular song in the land, right? Saul killed his thousands and David his tens of thousands. And he ends with this, adversity has slain her 1,000, but prosperity her 10,000.
Wow.
Yeah. Right? And I was just like, oh, that is so good. And I think especially for us to hear, we're in a context where certainly there are those who struggle, but often prosperity is the thing in front of us.
Yes.
And that Satan loves to put in front of us that comfort and that prosperity in order to induce us to sin.
That's a great point. Yeah. Well, why don't we jump in here to some of these devices that Brooks gives us? Which of the he gives four for this he gives four remedies, for this device. What, if any of these, kind of jumped out at you, and anything you found particularly helpful?
Okay. My dad must have read this book. I have no knowledge that my dad, Al Stallings, read this book. He's with the Lord now. But I was raised on Remedy 1.
Really?
And what's interesting is I have a brother and two sisters. I was uniquely given Remedy 1 in comparison to my brother and two sisters.
Wow.
So as little kids, we would go to wherever. My dad was as cheap as the cheap could be. And so we would go to different places. I remember one time we would always go to this place called Nakalulu Falls. Okay? Yeah. It's barely just a little exit off of the interstate near Gadsden, Alabama. And there's a little train that only does a circle. And there's a waterfall that you could jump off of.
Okay. Yeah.
And so it's Nakalulu Falls.
Yeah.
Well, I get to school and my kids, my friends are always all wanting to go. Dad, can I go with them to Six Flags? And he looks at me and goes, Six Flags? ask them if they've ever been to Nakalulu Falls. Well, I don't know what Six Flags is, so I go, I tell them, hey, have y'all ever been to Nakalulu Falls? Yeah. They all go tell their parents, can we go to Nakalulu Falls? Yeah. And I can only imagine what their parents told them at that point. Until when I was in high school, I finally saw Six Flags and resented my dad ever since. But so we would go to little places like that, and inevitably Bruce is going to get wet. He's going to get dirty. Yeah, and he's going to have a great reason why. Okay. Yeah. We had these family reunions around this big lake. We would go muddy the whole time. Yeah. I mean, they were my parents. They should have known to bring a change of clothes, but I put that on them. So we get there one time, and I can't remember how old I was. Yeah. My dad takes me, puts me on the hood of the big Country Squire station wagon, and says, "Okay, Bruce, you have to live by the 10-yard rule, okay? Okay. You cannot get within 10 yards of the lake. That way, you can fall down, get up, a bird can attack you, you can run from the cows, you can do every excuse I've ever given.
Any anthill that you find.
That's right. You can do whatever, and you'll still be dry." And he said, 10 yards is twice the length of this station wagon. If I see you within 10 yards, I'm just going to go ahead and spank you. Okay? Wow. You cannot get within 10 yards of the lake. Yeah. Well, for the first time in my life, I rode back to Birmingham in dry clothes. Because I applied the 10-yard rule. Yeah. Well, and my dad would look at me sometimes and just put 10 fingers up. And when 10 fingers. This played out the rest of my life. Wow. Yeah. I eventually figured out that related to sin. That it was Bruce Stallings specifically needs to live 10 yards from the temptation of sin because I will fail at 9. Yeah. I will certainly fail at 5, and I've got no business at 1 yard from. Now, I would say this. You guys may be 3-yard guys. Right. Doubt it. But you could be. You could be 20-yard. I don't know.
Right. 100-yard guys.
Yeah. But this
if you're
is
10-yard.
This is such simple and applicable. Yeah. Like, well, if you're going to stand right next to it, it could hurt you. Right. But if you're 10 yards from it, then it can blow up and you'll be fine. So when I say I've applied this in many areas, I would say literally, and as you went through all those different areas of sin that y'all were talking about, I've got a 10-yard rule in my head about, now, do I violate it? Yes. Sure. Yeah. But I want to deal with the violation of the 9 and 8 yard part, not the violation of the 2 and 1, or the embracing.
Or the
and so
right in. Yeah.
I just try to draw a line, and that's knowing me. Yeah. I will remind you, I'm the only child in our family that got that rule. Because my dad knew me. I needed that rule. I would suggest we all need some rule. So I absolutely, I read this and went, good gracious, my dad read this. That's so good. Applied it to me.
What a
this
great
is an
story.
Al Stallings remedy.
Well, let me read just how he words it, because I think you're right. It's really helpful. This is remedy number 1 for this first device. Remedy 1, first, keep the greatest distance from sin and from playing with the golden bait that Satan holds forth to catch you. You think about it. If you're within 5 yards, you're kind of playing with that. You might fall in the lake. If you're within 2 yards, I mean, you're basically in it. Yep. But you keep 10. There's that barrier. There's that distance. It's such a good, such a good rule. You know what it reminded me of a little bit is a few years ago. Got COVID coming through. I'm not trying to get into the science of things, guys. No. But social distancing. People, it was like, hey, if you stay away, keep what it was. I think we said 6 feet, and you would, even at worship, there would be skip a pews, that sort of thing. At times, different churches had different rules, but there was this idea that, like, hey, if you don't want to get sick, stay away. Stay away from other people, and particularly other people. Like when people had COVID, they had a diagnosis, they were quarantined. Yeah, and so you didn't go near them; they didn't go near you. And that idea of like, hey, I don't want to catch this disease or I don't want to commit this sin. Yeah. I need to keep some distance from it. I can't be right there with it. If Josh has COVID, I don't need to be sitting this close to him and we're breathing the same air. Yeah. I'm going to catch it. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great? Think about this, because it amazed me how quickly when you went into a grocery store, a pharmacy, anything, it was marked on the floor.
That's right.
So they had the little, everybody came up with their little signals and their barriers.
You had your X or your square.
Wouldn't it be great if when you walked into a store that it had, 6 foot distance from the lustful images on the magazines that were right there. Yeah. 6 foot distance from all the pounds of ice cream that I could go buy that I don't need, that they put all in one.
Bruce, no, not that. Yeah. Bruce, not. You want this knife back?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I mean, wouldn't it be great if somehow we had those kind of lines and barriers?
Right.
You know, a 6 foot mark from gossip.
Yes.
A 6 foot signal from slander.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And so the visual.
Yes.
I think it's a great illustration. The visual component that came with it, which somehow in some places still exists today.
Sure.
Is really helpful.
Yeah.
Well, I even wrote down, because he says, sin is a plague. Yes, the worst and most infectious plague in the world. And I literally wrote down in my notes on this section, if we had done this podcast 6 years ago,
Oh, yeah.
we would have to imagine what would it have been like if there was a plague. Certainly, Brooks is living in a world where that could happen, but us.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, we know exactly what you guys are talking about. We are very intentional, and we put up a lot of boundaries in order to keep us away from physical death.
Yeah.
Okay, what does that look like practically when I'm trying to keep myself from tasting spiritual death? What is it to avoid? So maybe let's think through some of the sins that we talked about, one or two of those sins. You mentioned that when you looked at those sins, like you immediately thought, okay, here's kind of my 10-foot rule. Is there one or two that jumps out at you like, oh, here's my 10-foot rule for this one?
Well, yeah. Let me put it this way. So I'm meeting with a group of, in a church that I worked at before, meeting with a group of singles. Okay? And different guys would come through their study, and I think there's about 15, 20 guys that had a little study that they worked on together. And so it was Q&A time. Yeah. So one of them, and I don't know, I was probably not in a great mood, had a long day, short. And so he asked me, what advice would you give me in my battle with pornography? And I said, describe your battle.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't really have an answer.
Yeah.
Well, it's my struggle. Okay, describe the struggle. He didn't really have an answer.
Yeah.
My theory is most of us aren't in a struggle or battle with pornography. We're toying with pornography, and we're struggling with getting caught.
Yes.
It's not the
right.
There's no 10-yard rule built in
Right.
to it. So I said, so if I got your phone, if I got your laptop, if I got your computer, if I went and looked at the sites that you did and the places you put yourself that are known to have where other people are going to put things in front of you.
Yep.
They're going to pop up, you know, and they're going to put things in front of you. Have you chosen not to go and do those things so that you've got this 10-yard rule or this distance that you've built in?
Yeah.
In the area of pornography, lust, etc., it's 100-yard rule.
Yeah.
I mean, men have got to, and women in their own unique way as well, have got to build in these parameters.
Right.
That's one where I think it's directly applicable, and other people need to know and be able to see what those parameters are.
Yeah.
Tell the parameters to someone else.
Yeah.
Have accountability, et cetera.
Yeah.
Because Satan's smart.
Yeah.
I mean, he's gonna force it in. So I think one of the areas easily that I first thought of was that area.
Brooks gives a great illustration of it, or from biblical characters of sort of that same idea. He talks about Joseph, who he's in Egypt, and it's Potiphar's wife, right, who kind of pursues him. He flees from that. He runs out. He's like, I'm not even going to be near. I'm not going to be in the same building with you. I got to get out of here. And then he talks about David, and David's. He should be out with his army, but he's hanging back in town.
Yep.
And he's taking this time of day where it's kind of like, oh, maybe some of the girls are going to be around. I'm going to go out. Yep. And so it's just like perhaps if the situations had been reversed, the endings of both of those guys' stories would have been different. Maybe David would have remained pure and Joseph would have fallen in sin. But Joseph followed the 100-yard rule there. He said, got to get away. Yep. David dabbled. Kept within 10 years, got too close. And so we know the outcomes of those stories. I was trying to think about this too, though. Like, what are other things? And we mentioned just gossip a minute ago.
Yeah.
Or anything. Like, anytime you're in a group where you're like, oh, we're going to be complaining, we're going to be using our speech in some way that's not edifying, it's not glorifying to the Lord. And one of the things I thought about is just like, who are those people who you do those things with? Yeah. And how do you spend... I mean, I'm not talking about just cutting off relationships, but how do you spend less time in those environments where we're going to do those things? We're going to talk that way. Yep. We're going to talk about our boss at work and say nasty things. We're going to talk about that friend or neighbor or relative who we have some knowledge about what's going on in their life, and we're going to kind of gossip about it. Yeah. there are ways, even in those things, we can sort of build in that distance, flee from those things.
Yeah.
Not put ourselves
I'm not
in that
going to
situation.
participate in that sort of thing. If you guys want to, that's fine. That's on you. But I'm choosing to put some limits. I thought about unrighteous anger and anxiety.
Yeah.
And how often social media fuels both of those things because they platform the opinions that are likely to make you feel one or the other of those things. If it makes you feel angry, you're likely to engage, and engagement helps them to sell you to others.
That's right.
And if it makes you anxious, you're likely to consume, to purchase something to make yourself feel better. Right. And so both of those things, it's their wheelhouse. Again, we just said, watch Instagram for our giveaway. Like, we're not anti, social media, but at the same time.
But be careful on Instagram.
Man, that might be 2 yards for a lot of us. Yeah. And it's like 10 yards is, I don't have any social media because I know myself well enough to know it would pull me in.
And contention sells.
Yeah.
Division sells.
Absolutely.
I mean, think about, and it doesn't have to be bad topics.
Yeah.
What are the number one shows? I don't even know if there are any shows on a Monday that don't simply critique college football, pro football.
Yeah.
And they
Politics,
rip fire the coach.
Yeah.
The quarterback's terrible. I mean,
bench this guy, get him.
Absolutely. I mean, and it's just contentious. Well, you just sit and listen to that time after time after time after time, where you can make everybody's trying to make the most outlandish statement they can about someone, and then go home and your child didn't do their homework.
Yeah.
And watch how you respond.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say this. I've learned that in my unrighteous anger, there is always a precursor to it. It is rare, if not extinct, that I ever just arbitrarily lash out in anger for absolutely no reason. Now, the person receiving it might think I did.
Yeah.
But what they don't know is, no, I'm mad about something else.
Right.
I've not processed healthy and dealt with something else. And so there's a precursor to what that is.
Yeah.
And I've talked to many guys, and I'll tell you, I cannot continually listen to political debate, to the YouTube clips, even though they're the little short snippet clips, and just the contentious deal, and then communicate in a God-honoring way. I can't do it.
Yeah.
It's not possible for me.
Yeah. I'm the same way.
We got to have those limits. I was thinking, this reminded me, this first remedy did remind me, obviously we want to bring in scripture when we can. This is from Proverbs 5, talking about the woman of adultery, the adulterous woman, the harlot. He says, keep your way far from her. Do not go near the door to her house. It's like, hey, look, you don't even need to be in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
We've all visited a city when people tell you, hey, you probably don't want to go that neighborhood, not the safest place.
Yeah.
Like, we got to have those same sort of barriers for our souls. And that's what Brooks is trying to get us to do. Don't even go near sin.
It's like I mentioned alcoholism earlier. It's like the alcoholic who faithfully has to take a circuitous route home.
That's right.
In order not to drive by the liquor store.
That's right.
Yeah.
He just knows himself or herself well enough to say, if I drive past that store, I will stop because I want it so much. So I've got to go around and take an extra 10, 15, 20 minutes, a detour, because it's better for my soul. It's inefficient and ineffective sometimes.
That's right.
In order to not sin.
Yeah.
And we have to be willing to do that.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's good.
And the advice is so simple. It's almost like it shouldn't even be listed as advice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're
Like,
right.
He says the best way to keep from falling in the pit, don't go near it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, right.
That's it.
Yeah.
The best way to not fail in that area is don't go near that area.
Yeah.
No, Brooks, I'm ready for the more advanced lessons. Give me no, just
That's it.
Yeah. Oh, but wait, I do that all the time. I do go near the pit. Oh, man. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
well, that's great. What's some of the other remedies? Anything that stuck out to you guys? Kind of covered remedy 1 here.
I really enjoyed remedy number 4. Seriously, to consider that sin is of a very deceitful and bewitching nature. That it's the nature of sin.
Yeah.
It is a deceiver. It wants to kill you. Right? That's its entire goal, is to kill you. And so often we make it look something different. We believe its lies. It's like the harlot in the Proverbs. We're like, oh, it's okay. That look how beautiful, and I'm sure she's sweet. Oh, when her husband's away, I bet you he's a terrible guy. And I bet you she's just really, really nice, right? And all of a sudden you find yourself in and around this thing when if you recognize it's in its nature to take advantage of you as much as possible, to make that detestable to you, that it would do that to you.
Yeah.
Right. I found that really helpful.
That is good. You know, he talks about sin in this section, sin so bewitches the soul, that it makes the soul call evil good, and good evil. It makes it call bitter sweet, and sweet bitter, light darkness, and darkness light. You know, it's just that you come to believe the lie, and you start using the words of the lie. There's so many ways I think this could be applicable to us, like even small ways, like maybe laxness with our spiritual disciplines. A little bit of laziness starts to creep in. It's like, well, you know, I've read the Bible every morning this week, and I'm a little tired this morning, and it's no harm to avoid it today or to, you know, leave it off till tomorrow. And I've been doing really well.
Yeah.
And, you know, so you start saying these things, and yet what you're doing is you're creating distance from God. You're not approaching Him. You're not calling upon Him and drawing near to Him that He might draw near to you. And you're saying, well, that's okay. Maybe that is good in this situation. Actually, I need a break.
Yeah.
I've been really, I need the break. The break will be good. It'll be restful.
Yeah.
And you end up calling, you know, evil good and good evil. And it's just, you're so easily bewitched by the sin. Yeah.
Yeah. Not to get into cultural issues, et cetera, chase a rabbit. However, as I have just tried to process what's going on in our culture in the last decade or so. We call evil good and good evil.
Yeah.
I never really understood how absurd
That could be.
That could be.
Yes.
I mean,
It can be outlandish, right?
like there are books and shows and podcasts talking about what is a man, what is a woman.
Yeah.
And I'm going, that's absurd. I mean, how can we not answer that question? And I will acknowledge that I would have told you that could happen in some other parts of the world, but not America.
Yeah.
Now, not because America is somehow some uniquely, you know, better than everybody else place, just educated.
Yeah.
You know, just the education level, there's no way we're going to be confused by those types of issues. And as I have watched us, you know, deliberate over that, I'm like, good gracious, sin begets sin.
Yeah.
And it is absurd.
Yeah.
Right.
But it seems to make sense to us when we're engaging in it.
Well, and the bewitching nature of it seems to be exponential. So just the curve and its power, it's not straight. It's like this huge. So 20 years ago, we're talking about, okay, well, we know what genders are. Is it okay for two of the same gender to be together and be married? And like, well, let's give a little on that for whatever reason. And then you end up all the way to, we don't even know what a gender is. Gender's just a social construct. Right? Except that my 4-year-old is expected to know which bathroom to enter.
That's right.
In order to respect somebody else. The sheer absurdity of it.
Absolutely.
And one of the questions that I thought as I was reading this is like, what is it that is so bewitching? What is the bewitching profit or pleasure that it's promising that you need to reveal to yourself and say, okay, that is false and unable to deliver no matter what? Has that ever delivered fully on what it promises to give me? And the answer, of course, is always no, because sin can't deliver. Christ tells me that I've got to do hard things. I got to stay 10 feet away even though the water looks fun, right? But you do the hard things, does He deliver on His promises? Every single time. In the face of those realities, it's like a siren song. What is the song in my heart, and why does it know how to play those particular tunes or chords that get me there, right? And so just that image of bewitching I thought was really, really helpful.
That's so good, Josh. I was thinking as you were saying that, something I've told guys before, and it applies in a variety of ways, but you know, for giving in to your anger or your pride or greed or your lust, things like that. It's like when has it ever, when you've given into that sin, that immediately after you thought, oh, that really was fulfilling.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to schedule some time. I'm going to take a look at my calendar and schedule some time for that tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's like, actually, no, what you feel afterwards. And again, this device is the bait and the hook, right?
Yep.
But after you've given into that, you feel miserable.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did allow myself to get there or to go into that. And it's like your own experience teaches us.
Yeah.
It teaches you that, hey, look, I can't. This doesn't lead me, and yet we still fall into it. And that's that bewitching nature of it. You do something is going to lead to your not happiness, your misery, and you run headlong into it. It's that bewitching nature. It's
and I would almost relanguage it a little bit for modern times, bewitching to intoxicating.
Yeah.
Because I think we're probably used to that language a little bit more, but it's the same thing.
Helps.
Right? It confuses
can't
and
think
muddles
straight.
the brain.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right. And you just think, oh, this is now okay. It's just death is what it leads to.
That's good. That's good.
How about you? Did you
I
have
want to jump back in here to Remedy number 3. And this is more of again, some of these things we're talking about what we're thinking, what we're believing. We have to kind of retrain our minds to fight sin, right? He says, remedy number 3 is solemnly to consider. Solemnly, like you got to sit down with some seriousness and think about this, that sin will usher in the greatest and the saddest losses that can be upon our souls. Isn't that what you want? Don't you want the greatest and saddest losses? Yeah, that's great. It's like if you consider that.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like if you heard people, their motivational speaker says, think about the thing you want to do and think about your achieving that goal. You want to run a marathon? Think about the day that you're at the race and you're crossing the finish line and how great you'll feel.
Yeah.
It was almost the opposite. It's like, think about the misery, the sadness, the loss that sin is bringing in. Is that where you want to go?
Yeah.
Picture yourself in that misery, in that loss.
Yeah.
And certain sins that we've talked about can lead to incredible, not just, physical loss, certainly. You can lose your family for certain things, or you can lose your job for certain things, or you can lose your reputation.
Yeah.
There's so many things you could lose, but the damage even to your soul, is that what you want?
Yeah.
Solemnly consider this. And
Well, he took it to a whole nother level.
Sure.
He gave a little bit of a list.
Yeah.
His list was the loss of divine favor, the loss of joy, the loss of peace, which passes understanding, the loss of divine influences by which the soul is refreshed, quickened, raised, strengthened, gladdened, the loss of many outward desirable mercies, which otherwise the soul might have enjoyed. So when he says solemnly, he's taking it down into the depth of your soul. These are not losing things.
Right.
Yeah.
This is, and not even to some degree losing relationships, which is a consequence of sin. But these are soul losses.
Yeah.
And think about, these are some of the things, the divine favor, joy, peace, divine influence. These are the things you think you're going to get out of that, or that what you do, the feeling you get will cover your loss of it for some bit of time.
Yeah.
And I thought that was insightful, the way he listed that out.
Yeah. Finally be satisfied. And we don't often realize all the benefits or all the mercies that we're receiving.
Yeah.
So often when I sit in my counseling room with somebody who's given into a public sin that has caused incredible grief and harm to them, to those they know, they were trading in the 90% that they assumed, that they didn't even realize they were getting anymore.
Right.
For the 10% they thought they could make up to make them complete. And in chasing that 10%, they lost the 90.
Yeah.
And when they look back at the 90 after they've lost it, it's gobstopping. Like, how could I have taken that for granted? A loving wife or a good job.
Yeah.
The Lord's pride in me, the ability to walk into a sanctuary and feel I'm a part of a community. My father once told me, and it's just one of those things that just gets stuck in the back of your head, the hardest thing about shaving every day is looking at the man in the mirror. Right? And it's just like you can take that for granted that you could look at yourself and think that's okay, and then all the shame and all the guilt of all you've thrown away for what, right? So an incredible job here.
Pointing out
Yeah.
the depths, as Bruce has said, the depths of what you're toying with.
Yep.
And I just love that, because it's not even like, you think of considering something, or even solemnly considering something. That's not a super active thing that you're doing there. It's not like that I'm going to go take this great action to fight my sin, but it is a retraining of your mind of how to think about your choices and the things you allow yourself to look at or think about or do. Solemnly consider what that leads you to, what it robs you of.
Yeah. His second remedy, which we didn't get to, is that sin is but a bittersweet. We won't get to all of them in all the devices.
Yeah, some of them have several, like 8 or so.
But we're talking around
remedies.
that issue. Kind of all the other three do kind of also emphasize that piece, that you're just realizing that the sweetness is just for a moment, but the bitterness is for so long. But he has a quote in here that I just absolutely love. And he says, "Many long to be meddling with the murdering morsels of sin."
Wow.
Oh, that is such a good line. Let me write, "Many long to be meddling with the murdering morsels of sin." Right? And if you can just, that thing, that bait, it's death. Right? It's poison. That's what it is.
And even that the word choice there, meddling with it. Maybe it's like I'm gonna have some control over this.
Yeah.
Like I can meddle with it. I can dabble with it. I can
Play with it a little.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give myself full into that. I'm not gonna, but I'll keep some distance, or I'm just gonna meddle with it.
Yeah.
Man, that does not work out though, does it? That is not.
No, I mean, my wife is always saying, "Bruce, be careful when I'm doing something stupid. Bruce, be careful."
Which is never, I'm sure.
No. It's not daily, but it's close. And my verbiage back to her is something to the tune of, "I know what I'm doing.
I got it.
I got it.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing." Yeah. Now, let me say this. When I say that, I know that I don't have it.
Right.
Hopefully she won't watch this, and hear that. But I know that I don't have it.
Right.
And I still do it. I'm still like,
Yeah.
but you don't know me.
Yeah.
I can handle this.
Right.
I'm not falling off the roof.
Right.
I'm not going to grab the power cord
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
I mean,
Would never.
No. But and it's all that pride and that self-reliance. But at that moment, I am fearful. I mean, I do hear her.
Yeah.
I'm just not willing to acknowledge,
Yeah.
I do need to be careful.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that I thought might be interesting is with this particular device, hide the hook, show the bait. Any remedy that he didn't list that you thought, that kind of came up for me as like something I would say in my ministry. We don't have to spend long on it. We're already long on this podcast, but any remedy, any additional remedy that you thought of?
Well, just the opposite of not biting the bait with the hook in it is not going hungry. So God is feeding us legitimately.
Man, that's so good.
With food that doesn't have hooks in it. Okay, so once you identify and get familiar with and recognize the food that God provides to us, you can better recognize the counterfeit by knowing the genuine article.
Yeah.
So
That's great.
Look, 100 people can make dressing at Thanksgiving. I will pick out my mother's.
Wow.
I know my mother's dressing.
Yeah.
At end of story, I will recognize it because that's the genuine article. The counterfeits won't measure up. We got to really focus on identifying and eating of the Lord the things that do provide the peace, the joy, et cetera, the favor of the Lord, that do provide those things, so that we look at this and we go, that seems different.
Yes.
That doesn't look like something
That's right.
that God would put in front of me to eat.
Yeah. Going back to your fly fishing analogy from the beginning, it's like you want to be that wise fish that gets big and fat, and you don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like
I'm pretty close.
I think we all relate to that. Yeah.
But no, that fish that looks and sees, hey, there's something about that bug that maybe doesn't look just right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bite that one.
Yeah.
And that's the fish that knows, actually, over here in this little bit of the pond is where there's really good bugs but seeking good food. Our Father, he does actually want what's best for us. And he's willing to give of himself to us. Think of the way it's put in the Psalms, just pleasures forevermore, at his right hand, true and lasting joy that we can find in him. That doesn't mean everything's always going to be perfect or easy in our lives, but real, sustainable joy is found only in God, only in Christ, who he's given to us. And we can experience that as a community filled by his Holy Spirit. It's incredible to think we go for the counterfeit.
Yeah.
When the real thing is held
Right
open
there.
to us.
Yeah.
That was really good, Bruce. Thank you. That's so
Well,
much.
you could teach fish one lesson and it would save tons of fish.
Yeah.
Don't eat bait that appears to be chasing a string. Think about it.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah.
They learned that lesson.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I got to figure out what's that lesson in my life.
Yes.
Because that's pretty simple.
Yep.
However good it looks, if it seems to be chasing a string, leave it alone.
I don't want to bite that.
All right. Now what do I? If it seems to be this, Bruce, leave it alone.
Yeah, what's the string? Influence, power,
That's
joy,
right.
whatever it
That's
is.
right.
That's really, really good. Well, thank you so much. This has been a phenomenal conversation. I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season, where we'll be going over the rest of the devices that Brooks gives us, along with those remedies. Thanks for hanging out with us. Be sure to like and comment and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, as long as it's not a source of temptation.
Amen.
You can follow us at One Another
10 yards.
Podcast. Yeah, keep your 10 yards. Or you can email us at 1a@firstprescolumbia.org. That's 1a@firstprescolumbia.org. For Josh Fleming and Bruce Stallings, I'm Josh Squires. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, and we'll see you next time. Until then, God bless.